Listen, y'all better say you missed me for the last couple of weeks, because if you don't, oh, listen, no, I'm good. I'm good. Listen, my wife and I, we've been gone now for a couple of weeks, and just taking care of some of our own needs. And as a matter of fact, I tell you this, um, we just came back from a 8-day cruise. We had about 4 of calls, and we had a really, really good time. And we decided that we would do this in preparation for the Refueling Your Relationship conference coming up in Atlanta on September 24th. So we figured, listen, if we're going to want to walk people through this refueling your relationship experience, we need to get away and make sure that our relationship was at a good place. Because you know how relationships are, things get shake up and shaken up and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes things are just not at a good place. We don't want to come on and fake it. So we took some time out and we went and refueled ourselves, and we shook some stuff up and shook out some stuff that didn't need to be in our relationship, and shake some things in that needed to be in the relationship. And so here we are, just ready and on fire for September 24th, which is this upcoming Sunday, by the way, in Atlanta. And so while I'm talking about that, let me just tell you this, that it is called the rest stop. Dr. Kitten, you see by I-75, I-285, I-85. That's all relative to Atlanta, the Atlanta community. So Atlanta, listen, we planned this just for you. So we expect to see you there. We didn't put all of this work into this, my team, not to have you there. But, it's a very small conference. It's not big. And the reason we're making it small is so that you can have plenty of time for questions and answers. And these won't be at the end. There will be as we're working them through, as the emotions is raw. And now, we're going to be answering questions and, give you an opportunity to work through some stuff. Okay. So we want to see you there September 24th, this upcoming Sunday in Atlanta. We look forward to that because we're refueled, we're refreshed, and we're at our best. All right. So that's where we're at. And so, listen, if you'd like to, what we'd like for you to do is to follow, subscribe, share, and like it. Like it, follow, share, and subscribe. If you do that, it just make this program more authentic. More people will be involved in it, so that the information that we share, will be real. It will be palatable. It will be important to you and to everybody around you. This is why we want you to share, like, follow, share, and subscribe. We're not keeping anything to ourselves. We're going to let it all out. Okay, now on the shake up. So you know what shake up is all about? You know my story. My wife loves to make some of the best smoothies, and she can put like 6 or 8 ingredients in this smoothie. Bam, right into the blender. Kick that thing on, hit that switch, and that thing just starts screaming, and it just keeps moving around. And by the time all the blending is done, we can't see the banana that was in there, but it's in there. We can't see the apple that was in there. It's in there. We cannot see the strawberries that was in there, but it's in there. We can't see the nuts that was in there. Yeah, we do all of that. Now you're giving you an idea about how you should make your smoothies, right? But it's in there. And once we shake it all up like that, there is this consistency of coming together. So this shakeup that we do, it's not about fragmenting families. It's another way of bringing families together, sharing themselves in a non-threatening way. So like us, follow us, share, and subscribe. And the last thing I'm going to say now is this. Listen, if you would like to be considered to be a part of this show, we would like you, for in the future, just email my team at drkidspeaks@gmail.com, and they will get in touch with you, and they will get you on the show. They will prepare you, they'll prep you really well, and you can come on camera, or you can be off camera. You can do however, but we'd rather have you on camera, so that the world can, put a face to the amazing story that you have to tell. So listen, just climb aboard, call Dr. Kit, email Dr. Kit Speaks at at gmail.com, and my team will get you all squared away. As they say, okay, now enough said. This is the Shake Up with Dr. Kit, 6 p.m. Monday evening Central Time. Okay, whether standard time or daylight time, it doesn't matter. This is just Central Time right here in the big Alabama. Okay, so this is where I'm coming to you from. All right. So listen, I have a kind of a different show going on this evening. A very special guest, very, very special guest. And this guest has a story to tell. And I know you are going to enjoy this story this evening. Okay, so tell some friends, get them all on here, let them watch, let them participate, let them get all the ideas that they need about what to do next in their shakeup. Okay, and at this time, I'm going to bring on my special guest. Guest, where are you? Just jump on here. Oh, listen. Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, man. I thought it was going to be somebody else, man.
Yeah, I wish it was somebody else. I wish it was somebody else, but you stuck with me for tonight. You stuck with me. How you doing?
I'm stuck with you for tonight. Oh, man.
Yes, you are.
All right, man. If I knew it was you, I wouldn't have said all those nice things, But hey, hey, listen, I can't take them back now.
Unfortunately, the guests for tonight, they had some circumstances that allowed them not to be on the show, so we had to pivot last minute. So here I am, but I'm excited to be on here. I do have a story to share, and I'm excited to be on the show with you.
Okay, so you got a story. You got a story to share.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, I usually run the back end of this show here, so making sure I'm in the comments and trying to pull comments on the screen and communicating with individuals. So my name is Michael. Some people say I look like the guy on your screen to my left. I wish I didn't, because he's not a good looking guy, but
oh man,
come
yes, on, this is you want me to shut this thing down on you, man?
Man, I got the controls.
Ooh,
But yeah, so my father here, he invited me on. He's been trying to have my wife and myself on just to talk about our story and how the effects on our family. And so, yeah, so I guess we're going to get into that a little bit this evening.
All right, man. I'm so happy that you were willing to do this at the last minute. Like you said, the couple that we had to come on, some circumstances beyond their control came up, and so they couldn't make it on. But, we got to be flexible, One of the things about trees in the tropics, they don't have a lot of large oak tree that sink its root deep down into the fodder, into the ground, because when the high wind blows, if it blows too hard, it's just going to just knock it over. But some of the trees they have there, like banana trees and coconut palm tree, they are so flexible. They can bend and bend and bend with that heavy wind, without disturbing the root. So here we are this evening, taking a story from that we are going to be flexible and have a great show for you tonight. Okay, Michael, you have a story to tell. And I'm going to let you start wherever you want to start, and I will jump in with some questions every now and then. All right. So where do you want to start, man?
Well, you can tell me where you want. It's your show.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. Listen. All right. So here we go. I'd like you to start at, how did you get this idea about traveling around the country with your wife and 2 kids, and this idea just came into your head like that? Or did a coconut drop on your head, man, and knock you halfway unconscious? What happened, man? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, So for those that don't know, as Dr. Kit said, my wife and I and 2 kids, we were traveling the nation. We started in January of this year, and we're still supposed to be going, but we had to end it prematurely, or pause it back in June because we've had some problems with our rig. And so, as you can see, I'm in a house right now. We're staying with my in-laws now. So I always make the joke that I'm a 40-year-old man staying in my parents' attic, but we're just waiting for our rig to get fixed. But to answer your question, it wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea. It was actually my wife's idea, Jamie's idea. She asked me probably about 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
She said, "Hey, let's do this," and I was against it. I wasn't feeling it. I was like, just, why do we need to cram into an RV and travel the nation? That doesn't seem like something that would be fun. I understand that we'd be able to get to see some places, but we had to pick up and go all over the place all the time. And so that was her idea. She kept asking, and finally, after a little while, she kind of let it go. And then as we got into the pandemic, and as we kept going, I guess God revealed to me some things that I started to see in the family. Some things, some issues. You always talk about the shakeup, some issues that my wife and I were having, in communicating and how we were relating to each other, and just seemed kind of there seemed to be a lot of tension. And then even with my kids, a lot of yelling, a lot of back and forth between parents and children, between siblings. And so after a while, I was like, we need to do something different. And then I started thinking about, hey, what can we do different? And then, the thought that the topic that she had brought to me about, hey, let's pack up and leave and go travel. And I was like, I took it to her and I said, hey, you know what, babe? I said, I think we should do this. And then all of a sudden,
y'all like the Beverly Hillbillies, man.
We were just like the Beverly Hillbillies. So we actually sold and gave away a ton of stuff. So we gave away a lot of stuff. We sold a lot of stuff. We rented our house out, went and purchased an RV, and as they say, the rest is history. We got to see a lot of places, and we don't think that our journey's over yet. Like I said, we're just on pause, waiting for our rig to get fixed. We had some issues with it, but parts are just slow getting in. But during those 5.5 months, we got to see a lot on the road. We got to see a lot.
Okay, listen, you said, listen, you had to move out of your house, move into the rig, but then you're also working. But before we get to you working, you also had a business, right?
Yes.
Yes. You want to talk about that business and how you grew that business, you and Jamie, from and the children, from the ground up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were just saying, hey, let's go do this. There's a lot of things that you had to change and rearrange in your life, and then you had to get everybody to be on board, which can be the most difficult sometimes.
Right. So we actually did sell that business because that was a part of getting on the road. We couldn't run it I guess we could have run it from the road, but we said, hey, this is not something that we're looking to do. But during the pandemic, we recognized that there was a need. A lot of people were at home. And so we started one of those sign businesses. So if you ever see people that can wake up to like a big, huge happy birthday sign in their yard, probably about 20, 25 feet long, individual letters, that's the kind of business that we're doing. And the family, truly, every last one of us had a portion to do with it. The kids, they were pulling letters. They were helping to stake letters. We would go out into yards late at night, and we were making sure that we could bring smiles to people's faces. And we did that for quite a bit, for much of I guess we're technically still, I guess they say we're still in it kind of, but we did it for much of the pandemic, and we did very well. Our community supported us, and we were able to we were able to grow it from the ground up, with a little bit of seed money and then continue to pour the money back into the business. So we did that. But once we decided we wanted to get on the road, we were like, hey, we gotta get this business sold. And so we were able to find a couple that was really passionate about it, and we sold it. And that was, once we got that sold, that was like one huge step towards us being able to getting some things off of our plate so that we could end up hitting the road.
Good. You talked about, communication between you and Jamie and you and the kids, before we get to the kids. I mean, what was like Jamie's response when she had pitched the idea with you, and you, however, you were not having anything to do with this, and but then you just got up one day and said, well, let's go and do this. But before you get to Jamie, I mean, something had to have happened inside of you that made you say, Michael, you need to. What was that thing that made you say, hey, listen? Because, the truth of the matter is, before you can start talking to yourself, to others, you got to start talking to yourself. So can you kind of walk us through that?
Well, kind of alluded to that earlier. It was more or less the family dynamics, the struggles that we were experiencing, our communication. Like I said, it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of bickering, and then I saw that even like during fights. Okay, if we got into it, because we're in a large house, I could go to my corner, she'd go to her corner, the kids could go to their corners, or whatever the case is. And we didn't necessarily have to address those issues right then and there. And so, things get swept underneath the rug, and then we move on to the next issue. Or the next issue might come up a week or 2 weeks, or maybe even like a day later. And so just seeing how we were communicating with each other, and then me having the desire to have things change up some. Just going back to what she suggested, it was something radical, something that I never thought we would do, that I would be on board with. But just going back to say, hey, we do need a radical shift. And so once I said, hey, I think that we should do this, then she was ready. She was ready. She already had her notebook ready to go, all the planning, all the planning done.
All right. Now, so here we go. Can you talk about schooling for the children that led up to that, and during those 6 months that you were on the road, and not just the schooling, the A, B, C, and D, and E, and F, that kind of stuff, but what was it like? The greatest part of the schooling was the emotional growth and development, and how you all kind of came together on that.
So the schooling, for us, it did change a little bit, but when my son, I have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. When my son was born, my wife, she actually quit her job. She wanted to stay home and homeschool the children and be with the children. And so when we were young married, when she said she wanted to quit and stay home, I'm a spreadsheet guy. So I looked at the spreadsheet, and I looked at the numbers. When I took her salary out, it didn't make sense. I flipped the spreadsheet upside down, and the numbers still didn't make sense. But that's something that she wanted to do. And I said, all right, if this is something that you really want to do, we're going to make it work, So we prayed about it, and we actually made it work. So she's actually been homeschooling the kids ever since they were born. But what changed when we got out on the road was, okay, we're studying about the ocean, or they're studying about different rock formations, or we're studying about alligators in school. And now we're able to actually go out and see the ocean, put our feet in the ocean. We're able to actually go that when we're down in Florida, we actually see alligators like right there next to us. We got to see a lot. We did a ton of Black history, from Montgomery to St. Augustine, all up and down the coast. There's a ton of Black history out there that we were able to to expose ourselves to things that we didn't know about, as well as the children too. And so being able to bring some practical world experience into their education was very beneficial.
Yeah. And of course, they didn't have to be sitting around, because I know those kids, they love to be on the outdoors anyway. So if they can learning by by through the senses, the direct contact and all that stuff, I bet they love that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Kids, I guess everybody can have their opinions about the current, schooling. And actually, it's funny enough, they're in school right now. We got them enrolled in school for the first time since they've been born. And so, but when I look at how we were able to school them, to where even when they were homeschooled, they could lay down on the couch, or they could go to the breakfast table and school there. Or if they got tired of, they needed a break, they could go outside, and go run around for a little bit. I think that was really beneficial for the kids. And so just being able to continue that on the road, you're able to school inside the RV or outside the RV next to a lake, looking up at the mountains with fresh air, that experience for them. I truly believe that it was beneficial for them, just being able to have them the opportunity to be able to school in a different environment, in that natural environment.
Yeah, but I can understand that, but there is this thing, that's expected, like sibling rivalry, man. Sibling rivalry, and then it's one thing for them to, like you said, when you're in this house, you got a lot of space, everybody can find their own little space, their own little corner. And of course, what that does, it like you said, cuts back on the quality of communication. But then they had to be inside of this RV. So you've gone from this. On the camera, there we are. From this down to this. Yeah.
Yes.
What was the initial experience like for that? No back. Well, no, that's true. You had the back. You listen, man. You had a different backyard every time you pulled up stake and moved somewhere else. But be that as it may, what was that like for you to go from the large space? And I know you kind of alluded to it, but the experience of that now I'm talking about.
So especially so living full time in an RV, for us, we literally went from a house, a nice size house, to something that was a tenth of what we used to live in. So it was a tenth of the size that we used to live in. And so I don't want everybody that's coming on to think that, us moving into an RV magically cured anything. In fact, I think in some areas it actually got worse. The relationships got worse, and in some areas it got better. Where I will say that it got better overall is that the arguments didn't necessarily stop. The fighting didn't necessarily stop. And I don't want you to think that we're like that all the time, but it did happen. It didn't stop, but what ended up happening is that because we were in a close, tight situation, we couldn't run off to our little corners. We had to address the issue head on, and we had to address it quickly. So that in and of itself, being able to open up those communication lines, even though we weren't, because we weren't used to doing that, being able to work on that component, that really, really ended up helping our relationship. Like I said, it didn't quit. It didn't stop, because, we're all just different people. We're different people. We have different likes. We have different dislikes. And when you get all of these different personalities into a area, you're going to have some clashes. But we were able to, like I said, being able to work through them in a quicker manner than we normally would have, having been in the house, that was very beneficial for us.
Oh man. Yes, sir. Listen, let me take a little commercial break here, and say, listen, I'm on board today with Michael. He runs the backstage of everything that makes the Dr. Kit show, whatever it is, and he's been good. He's been with me right from jump. He's been very strong proponent. It just encourages me all the way. And so we had a situation where, for those of you that are just coming up, a situation where the couple that was supposed to be on tonight, they had a situation where they just couldn't make it. So we decided we wouldn't shut it down. We would figure out a way. We'd just pivot over and just be flexible and just talk about something else that would be beneficial to you. And so Michael's here. He's in front of the camera this time as opposed to being behind the camera, taking care of business. So he's here now, doing both. He's double doing double duty.
I'm about to say we're doing both. Doing both.
You're doing both. Okay. So
yes.
Listen, if you have any questions from Michael, please drop them in the chat. And just drop some real life issue questions, because to go from a good sized house to where you're kind of just in this closed space. One of the things I tell people is that try to find a way to make a distinction between talking about issues as opposed to talking about people with the issues, right? Because when we talk about each other, like if you talk about, say, you and Jamie, you're no longer talking about the issue that brought you to that point of discussion. Now you've pivoted over and now you're making each other the issue. All right. So what I'm saying, if it was, if you spent $100 that you shouldn't have spent, then you don't need to be talking about, well, you're always like that. Let's talk about, hey, the money, it's not here, and we need to do this. Were you all able to kind of differentiate and make a distinction between, hey, listen, let's talk about, in a closed space like that, let's talk about the issues that we're dealing with, as opposed to making it bleed over into talking about the person of each other. Were you able to do that? And if so, was it difficult, or how was it?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose if we had a Dr. Kit that was taking us through that, that we'd be able to do a better job of it. But there's no way, no how that I'm ever coming to sit on your couch ever. So not with my wife. So we have done the counseling before, but I can't honestly answer that question. I don't know how we handled every single situation. And like I said, every situation probably wasn't handled appropriately or properly, according to the clinical format, talking about the issue as opposed to attacking the person. But I do know that, that coming out of that situation, just being able to talk through situations and then coming back, recognizing, okay, I was wrong, and being able to come back and apologize after the fact or whatever the case is, that just being able to do that was beneficial. Now, if we did it clinically correct, I don't know, because we never really sought counsel when we were going through these things. But I will say this, and I've said it before, being able to talk through things, whether it was husband and wife, whether it was father, daughter, mother, son, or siblings, or whatever the case is, just being able for us to be able to talk through those things. We weren't doing, well, I won't say we weren't doing it. We weren't doing it to this degree before. And so just being able, this full-time RVing, just living in that RV, that did help to open up that doors, those lines to communication. And it did get easier as we went along.
Yeah, that's good. So specific to the children, we talked around and about the children, but what were some of the personal challenges that they might have had, going from a house to an RV, their own space? I mean, because when you and Jamie talked about, you're already trying to figure out how you're going to let this new space, this micro space, work for you. But what was that like for the kids though? Because they were going along because they were your kids. You know, you didn't sit down and say, okay, let's get the spreadsheet out and do all this kind of stuff. So what was that like for them though? You know,
You,
emotionally and physically and socially, what was that like for them?
you know what? Kids,
Oh, yeah.
kids will be kids. I call them. I don't. It was difficult, so I figured that us doing this was a great experience for them. They got to see everything from Key West, all of the coast to Maine. And my son, he adapted well, but my daughter, she had a difficult time adjusting to it. And in my mind, I'm like, man, you're getting this experience, you know. I wish I could travel the nation. A lot of people wish they could travel the nation, see everything that you have. So why is it always a complaint? And then when after discussion and you know, it was okay, she's still communicating with her friends back home. She doesn't really have her friends on the road, and she was seeing things that they're doing. And so that's what it really came down to was for her, it was a very difficult, it was and is and probably will continue to be a difficult adjustment when we get back out on the road because she has a close, tight-knit group of friends here, and it was that fear of missing out. But in my mind, I was like, hey, you have this experience. Your friends will be there when you get back. But I mean, but I cannot discount her feelings though. Even though that's how she feels, and I might feel differently. I feel like she should have different feelings about it. But I think as far as myself and my wife, we adjusted just fine. My son, to a certain extent, you know, he struggled with it some, but he started to take more of a liking. He's more of an outdoors person than my daughter is, and so he was able to adjust because he was able to find more things to do outside. So
Yeah.
we got a Girlfriend Chronicles. Thank you. I'm gonna put one of her comments up here. Thanks for so. Let's see here. Once your children are of graduate age, do you think your wife will go back into the workforce? So, Girlfriend Chronicles, you might have missed it, but so now that we're here in Huntsville, we're back at home base since June. My wife said she said no more. She is done. Our kids, they are 12 and 13 going on 25 and 26. The mouth and it was just a lot for her. It was, you know, and it was time for her to put them in school. So we did actually make the transition. So while we're here at home base, they're gonna be in school. But when we go back out on the road, we will she will pick up with homeschooling them. But I take my hat off to her. Homeschooling them for 13 years. That was a huge task. And I will say this, I'm thankful. Like I said, the money, our money got cut, you know, down to the bone when she first decided, hey, I want to stay home. And we really had to make some sacrifices, but I'm glad that she made that decision. I wanted her to continue working because I'm a numbers guy. But when I look back on how far our children come, I'm really glad that we made the decision to do what we did and that she did stay home and homeschool them. So thank you for that question, Girlfriend Chronicles.
Yeah.
She had quite a few. I'll go ahead. Okay.
So let me ask you this question here real quick. Are you ready for your daughter one day to sit down and say, Dad, let me tell you how I felt. You moving me on the road, separated me from my friends, and I never thought I could talk to you about it. But I just need to tell you now how I was feeling then. Are you ready for that?
When she does come back, I know that I need to handle it better than I have in the past. So when she has talked about that, I have made the comment that, and some people might not like it, and I see the wrong in it, but that, hey, you're being ungrateful. You're being ungrateful. We're sacrificing. We're out here on the road. you're getting to see everything. We're going out to eat different things. You're seeing Black history. I say you're being ungrateful because your friends will be there. So if she ever comes back later on and wants to have that conversation, talks about how this affected her, I will be more open to it, because at the end of the day, it's her thoughts, it's her feelings. I can't argue with them. We might be going through the same activities, but we're having totally different experiences. And so I cannot, at the end of the day, argue with her experiences, and I need to acknowledge her. And that's a part of the growth process too, for me, because me as a son of a couple of immigrants who are very hard on us when we were growing up, that's kind of the attitude that I took growing up as well. But being able to pivot and now say, okay, yes, I understand that we are doing this, and I feel like I'm doing this for the family, and I feel like we're doing this for the betterment. Yeah, you might have some issues with it, and I do need to. And if she does come, I do believe that I'll be able to better acknowledge her thoughts and feelings on this. And even as we prepare to leave, whenever we leave again, we're going to have that conversation. So that conversation is coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So I do want to go back, girlfriend. Let me go back. Girlfriend Chronicles also asked another question, and I'm double dutying once again. So sorry, having to go back and forth. Okay. I'll have it up quicker. Oh, here we go. All right. Do you think your children are well-rounded when they are not interacting with kids in a school setting? And so what I will say, Girlfriend Chronicles, is that homeschool nowadays, especially the way that my wife did it, it's a lot different than it was back in the day. And so there's a couple things. We're highly involved with our church, and so and with our church they had a co-op, and then so the kids were involved in a co-op at our church, and they were also involved in another co-op. So they were actually able to go do elective classes for 2 days a week at the co-ops. And so they got interaction there. They would do the elective classes, then the kids had opportunities to run around and play. They were involved in choir or other extracurricular activities at our church. They're also, for homeschoolers, there's also you can also register them for sports. And so so we were able to register my son for sports out in the community. So he got interaction there. My daughter, she competed in gymnastics for several years. And so they were well socialized. It wasn't like the homeschoolers of old, where you could look at a kid and, you know, the pants are probably about 3-4 inches high, and they have that blank stare on their face when they get out into public, you know. So I feel like they were well adjusted.
So. Listen, Girlfriend Chronicles, you're asking some tough questions, and that's all right. That's the kind of question, you know, because the thing about that question is, you know, Mikey, it's like you said, it's gonna come sooner than later. And not only that, I think she's asking a really good question, because what you might think equates to or makes sense in terms of socialization, okay, it may not make sense to them the way they want to be socialized, but it's still socialization. So the question is, you know, how do we determine what level and type and intensity of socialization is best for anybody? Child, work, parents, you know, marriage, whatever. How do we decide this thing?
So once again, the going out on the road and living in the RV opened my mind to some different things. I was a structured, hey, this is what you're going to do because this is what I said you're going to do, and there's not any questions. And so now you're talking about who determines how to socialize. Well, now I'm of the mindset, these kids, they know what they like. Now, am I just going to allow them to have free will of everything? No, I'm not going to allow them to have free will and free reign of everything. But they know what they like. And so for me as a father and their mother, you know, both of us, we talk about it, and so we want to be able to have them more autonomy to be able to go out with friends, and we're really lucky to be able to have a strong friends group that we can trust to send our kids, to be in their presence, and we don't have to worry about them, and then they get that social factor. And then another thing, just growing up, I have a younger sister and an older brother. I know that sometimes it's harder for you. You love each other, but sometimes you don't like each other. And that's the same thing with my kids. They love each other, but sometimes they don't like each other. So them being able to get out and be able to have that freedom to be with their friends in other environments, and for them to be able to determine, hey, this is how I like to be social. This is how I like to grow. And this is how I like to form my relationships, giving them that autonomy. I'm choosing now not to stifle that, because if I do stifle that, then I think that's going to have long-term effects for them. Being able to develop relationships, as they grow into teenage years. Well, they're practically teenagers now, and then into young adulthood and into adult.
Yeah, right. Listen, can you talk about some
hi, Yolanda.
One, okay.
No, I was just saying hi to Yolanda.
Hey, Yolanda, Carmen. Oh, okay. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Can you talk about the friendship network that you developed on the road? Now, these are people you've never seen before, but every time you went to an RV park, you would meet people. And, what was that like? Was it discouraging, encouraging, or what? Can you kind of give us a sense of what that was like for you?
Okay. So, and I wish Jamie was here because she could talk about, because she has a lot to talk about as well, because, but with this being last minute, our kids, they have activities. And so she's out right now, shuttling them around to their activities. But I'll talk to it from my standpoint. One of my apprehensions about RVing full time and going to RV parks out in the middle of country, North Carolina or South Carolina, or even like some far parts of Florida or Virginia. Let's just be honest. I was apprehensive because I'm like, Black folks, this is not something that they do. And I didn't think that was something that Black people did going into this. And then once I actually got on the road, I found out now it's a very small group, but there are Black people. But then even just the different races that are out there, after a few campgrounds, after we went to a few campgrounds, my fears, that kind of subsided. Like, the RVing community is a very, very welcoming and friendly community. So with us being new to RVing, we were able to go out there and, like you said, we were able to form relationships. Now, they're not necessarily tight relationships because, we're in and out of a spot probably within like a week and a half, 2 weeks, but we actually did we did meet some people in one park. We didn't know that they were going to be at another park. So we met them in Florida, and then we met them again, like way up in Maine, and so I thought that was pretty, and so that was pretty cool. But that community, for anybody that might have any apprehension about even trying to RV or go into that, I thought there was going to be racism out there, and that there's going to be things that we had to deal with. Now, we have dealt with some things, but not to the degree that I thought we would. And I really, really enjoyed that time out there, and also making friends out there on the road, to the point to where we're even talking about, we're renting our house out now. We don't necessarily even want to move into, especially that size house. We don't even want to do that. We're thinking, hey, we might just keep our RV, and just live in it when we return back. Save a little bit of money. Save a little bit of money. I saw Girlfriend Chronicles once again. She said I'm inquisitive about going off the grid, and hey, I say go for it. We're looking for land as we
Go on,
speak. We're looking
go
for,
on, Chronicles. Let's get it.
yeah.
Let's throw that in because this is not something that they read about. I told them that if they journaled and chronicled every day, they'll have a book because every day is a different chapter or a different section. And as long as they're on the road, they can be writing a different book. It's a different chapter or phase of a book. So yeah, it's just like that. It really is. Now I remember when you and your brother and sister, when you're smaller, when you're kids, we took you to Niagara Falls. Now I've asked a number of grown people, like grown, like me, gray haired and grown, and they ain't never been to Niagara Falls. Never. Now, I'm not saying that that's an indictment on them because there are places they've been that I've never been. But Niagara Falls is not just a little, it's not just a little water just going over a little stream that drip, drip, drip. It ain't that. Like they say, millions of gallons of water go over the Niagara River there, the falls, in a minute's time. But you took your kids there.
Yes.
What was that like for you going back to where you went to as a kid, and then for them to see it as you told them story about being in the Maid of the Mist.
Maid of the Mist. So I think I could, let me see. Hopefully I can bring this up. I'm glad you asked that question. I've been trying to, once you started talking Niagara Falls, let me see if this is going to work here. So this is our Instagram page. We're on Instagram. It's called Drive Park Explore Repeat. You can see it right there. And right here, I'm just going to play this video. Hopefully it'll play properly. Let me.
That's a snake you got there, man.
Yep.
Of course, there's an American side and a Canadian side, right?
It's Canadian side.
Man, what a wind.
Go right here. All right, but I won't play the whole video, but just talking about, I just wanted to show them being able to go and experience Niagara Falls. Now, when you took us, you were too cheap to take us on the Maid.
Oh man, you're not gonna say that on air now, are you?
You didn't take us on the boat. We just had to look at it over the edge, So I had to rub a few coins together, and take them on the boat. But no, just being able to go there and you can see their faces. They were lighting up. They took us within like feet of the falls, and you could just feel the power of the water coming off the falls. And I don't think that's a feeling that or a memory that they're gonna soon be able to forget. Just so it was different. it's different experiences like that makes the sacrifice and going out on the road worth it for the family.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because even if you watch a YouTube video on it, man, that just won't give you that, like you said, just to be there and to feel the wind and like I say, get into the mate of the mist when you get there and in this big, because you know what's under the falls, right? They have these huge turbines because it's hydroelectricity that they use to supply what they call the Niagara Escarpment, Niagara Falls, Canada, and Niagara Falls going into Jamestown, Buffalo, and all those kind of places. Niagara, it's a lot of power under there, man. A lot of power under there. So,
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Was it kind of a deafening at times? Because I know you're right. I wasn't cheap, man. I just didn't take you down there. But you
gotta go. You gotta take your wife there. But yeah, definitely. Just being down there, like I said, you could almost just feel the force, because the wind is coming down as the water crashes down at the bottom. It was just blowing. The wind was just. It was just amazing, amazing. I guess that's why it's one of the seven wonders of the world, or 8 wonders of the world. Yeah. So that's why it is, and so definitely glad to be able to see that and experience it.
I tell you what. Even though you're telling everybody I was too cheap to take you down there, well, maybe that's how come I was able to get some money, because you eat all the food in the house. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, there is a cave. There's a cave. Behind the falls.
Mm-hmm.
And did we ever take you on that? There's a cave behind the falls, and there's this drumming, deafening sound of the water. We can come within maybe about, I'm thinking now, maybe about 8, 10, 12 feet away from the water, man. And it was so deafening to be not on the outside, but on the inside, watching the inside of the water go over there. And that thing was, whoo. That thing was no joke. But anyhow, I'm kind of glad that you were able to go and take the children there. So you're saying, listen, for you, RVing is good. You make friends. Now, did they have kids there on in the RV parks where your kids could have some kind of a friendship network going on, or just be able to play?
Yeah.
Did you?
So Arnold. Yeah, so there's a ton. So what I found out, I didn't even know that this was a thing. I didn't know that full-time RVing was a thing until we got on the road, and I was very surprised. But there's a huge, huge community of people that full-time RV, and we met people who've been out on the road like 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. Now most of them don't look like us, but like I said, in our case, it didn't matter. They were very welcoming of us. And the kids, they being able to go out and play, that was no problem. You'd have like RVs in the area. They had fields out there. Kids go out there and play. We learned how to play pickleball while we were on the road. They have basketball courts. A lot of parks have pools and some have jacuzzis, so you can stay in some really nice RV parks, and then there's some that you like, whoa, we about to get up out of here as soon as possible, so but hey, even in those places, it's an experience that, even though you might not like it while you're going through it, it's something that you can look back on and be like, hey, that was pretty cool, so yeah, so as far as the kids are concerned, they did make friends. Well, I won't say friends. They made acquaintances, because I don't like throwing that word around, friends around. They made acquaintances that they were able to get along with and be able to run around with while they're on the road. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, do you keep up with any of those people that you kind of met? Do you follow them because they're still on the road? Yeah. Look at your face there. Now, see what I mean? Man, scratch that question there, because this boy didn't even ask.
So I might be considered a terrible friend, but even with my friends here, I got to do a better job of following up. Now we do now, on posts and stuff, we'll comment on posts and try to keep up like that. But yeah, as far as like reaching out, I have not. Because I mean, like I said, you're only there for about a week and a half, 2 weeks for us in our case, And for me, while they're very nice people, and it wasn't long enough for me to even form that sort of bond with them that I feel the desire. Does that sound bad? Does that sound bad to you? I don't necessarily feel the desire to necessarily have to reach. Okay, well, it don't sound bad to me. I don't feel the desire that I have to reach out to them. But if I do see them, hey, I'll welcome them with open arms, and we'll pick up where we left off.
I hope they didn't hear this part of it, Michael, because when you go back, I know, man, yeah, he didn't even reach out to us. Oh, as opposed to, hey, Mikey, how you doing, man? Hey, that's what you really want,
But the thing is, they're gonna know that I'm not lying because I haven't reached out to them. So even if they're seeing it, they're gonna be like, that's true. He hasn't reached out to us, so it don't matter.
Oh man. This is good, man. And you're right. I wish Jamie was in because Jamie would have a different story from yours to tell, especially when you talk about finding your own space in the house when as a way of kind of a not working through some stuff. You just give yourself some distance.
Yes.
Whereas in the RV, because I don't know how y'all live in an RV, man. Hey. Yeah.
You know what? Being in the life on the road, what I found got simpler. So even like we're back. So I talked about, hey, when we're here, we're doing church stuff, we're doing sports stuff, we're doing family stuff. And so life on the road was very simple. And that's one thing that really helped us out was because, okay, there's no sports to run to. I mean, yeah, you're running around in the RV park, but we don't have to run you to sports in the evening. There's no gymnastics, there's no choir rehearsal, there's no youth activities at church to go to. It was us on the road, and with it being us on the road, then that for me, that helped out a lot because that was the first time that I really, in all these years, because usually when I'm back home, I'm hustling, I'm working, we're trying to build up. But for me, we sat down, we read, we played. I played more board games and card games on the road than I probably have, in our whole life of being married and having kids, because we were intentional. We had more time to be more intentional about, like I said, just being like pouring into each other. Like I said, Jamie's not here now. Now that we're back, the kids, they're in sports. My daughter, she's in cake decorating classes, so, and none of those things are bad at all because I know that it helps to make them a more well-rounded person, all those activities. But one positive that I can really say about being on the road was it was us. It was us. No you, no mom, no in-laws, no siblings. It was us. And if you talk to the kids, that was probably part of the problem too. It was us from their experience, and they didn't really have an outlet to go. Although they didn't, when we were doing the activities, they did enjoy it sometimes. So like I said, pros and cons all around. You're not going to be able to get it perfect in life, but hey, it's something that we've chosen to do, and I feel like it's paid off well for us having done it.
I appreciate that because it kind of reminded me, we just came off of a cruise, man, and this ship was a monster ship. It was huge. Like they had 4,500 people on board and 1,700 workers. It was a huge ship, and we didn't know anybody on the ship. We still don't know anybody on the ship. We're off now, But I'm just speaking to the stuff that you talked about, But with hold on, my nephew is being homeschooled, and this was the best decision my mom could have made. There were so many available resources to help with the transition. Always enjoy the platform, Dr. Kit, and thanks. You want to say anything about that, Mikey?
No, I was just throwing that comment. I was while you were talking, I was just letting some of the people that are watching on the different platforms see it. But thanks, Yolanda. Thank you for that. Yes, there are a ton of resources for anybody that's ever considering homeschooling, more now than there were before. And so we thank you for commenting. And I'm sure Dr. Kit thanks you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. But what I think if I can remember what I was about to say, we're talking about the ship. Don't laugh at me, man. You'll get there one day, okay? You'll get there one day. Yeah. You do have a few strands of gray hair, so don't act like you don't. I seen them. You got them, man. So
I do.
But so we were on the ship for 8 days, and there was so many people. It was rare if we got close to any one person, with any significance of, a relationship. Now, as a matter of fact, we got closer to the workers because their location was predictable. Your mom, she like to talk to everybody. So out there. Everybody, and I'm walking down the other end of the ship, hoping that she'll just kind of just come on, catch up with me. Now, I have to turn around and go back and find her. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So yeah, it's not so easy. It's not so easy to kind of do it because people are basically doing their own thing. That's what I found. People just moving really fast, eating fast, and just getting it done, man. So, but it was good. It was good for us, even though it was a large ship, but we had a smaller space, a smaller space of significance. Like the cabin that we were in, the stateroom that we were in, and even though the ship was large, we weren't running into friends, so it was just us in this very large ship, large but small all at the same time, So yeah, I'm really looking forward to you having a conversation with old Jew, man, because I know she gonna have a conversation with you one day about all of this. But I think though that one of the things that you alluded to this, you can point her to, where did you what was more important, or not necessarily more important, but could you have learned about the Niagara Falls from a book or a video? I mean, the videographer is the one who's learning, and you're trying to get a consensus of what it was like for them and make it your reality, So it's just things like that. But I think this was a great venture that you and Jamie took the children on. I'm hoping that one day they will really come to appreciate this and know. Like your mom, she went to Kenya and she went on the African safari, and I love watching those things on TV, and she did too, and probably still do. But she said it's nothing, traveling around in those covered, safari trucks and having, lions and giraffes come like right up, right there, That's what I think your children got. They can feel their heart beating. Is this lion going to come inside of here? What's going to, am I going to be able to punch lion in the nose or whatever? Whatever. I'm just talking. Yeah. But I think those are some of the kind of things. And I think that despite everything else, they will appreciate that. And they'll let you know that one day how much they really appreciated you, giving them a real life learning experience that was not about a book, didn't come through somebody else's eyes. It came through their own eyes, their taste, all their senses, and it made sense for them. So yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Any Go ahead. Go on.
You say any what? And you said closing?
No, I was just going to say before we shut it down. Is there anything that that I didn't ask that you really say? Listen, let me just talk about this here, and anything like that. That
Well, I mean, we can always have another
I mean,
conversation. Yeah, we can always have another conversation. I think, like I said, Jamie, she has some different insight that she could really share. But I will say that I will just piggyback off what you were saying about this difference between reading it in a book and actually seeing it. There's difference in hearing about slavery and then actually, like I said, we did the East Coast. And so, the East Coast is just littered with spots all up and down the East Coast where slave trade embarked upon this continent. And so just being able to go to some of those places and see where they commemorated it with different plaques or structures, or just being able to just see the dirt there, or the sand, and just knowing that, hey, my ancestors, they touched ground here. We got to go to the first Black-owned beach. I think that was in Florida as well, because a man, there was no place where Blacks could go on the beach. And so he just started buying up plots of land, and he had his own beach, And so just being able to see different things like that, you might be able to read about it in a book, but there's nothing like being able to just pull up and just to be able to experience it firsthand. So, like I said, the trip was twofold. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. There was a good possibility that you're either going to come back closer or only one person's going to come back, if you know what I mean. and I do, but I do believe we came back closer. It was twofold: interpersonal relationships, wife, kids, siblings, everything, and then also being able to experience America firsthand, being able to see it. It's not for everybody. I understand that, but if anybody that's listening now, if they even are thinking about doing anything like that, we welcome them to, they can reach out to us. Like I said, they can message us we're on Instagram and Facebook. It's drive.park.explore.repeat. I should have made that banner. Maybe I can make that banner in the meantime while I'm talking. But yeah, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll give you any information that we have, because like I said, it did wonders for us. And I feel like it for some people, it can do wonders for them as well.
Yeah. Listen, so Mike, for people who have this fear of, man, or man, I'll be bored for 6 months or even a year, is it possible for, say, a family to rent an RV and, go travel for a month or two just to kind of get the feel for that, go different places? Is that something that you could kind of recommend, kind of soften up their fears about what ifs, all the what ifs and stuff like that? Is that something that you think might work for some people?
Yes. Man, I'm trying to type here. There we go. All right, got that. I had to put that on. But absolutely. So yeah, if you don't want to go full bore and just and rent your house out and sell all your stuff or donate it like we did, then you can absolutely.
How come you didn't donate nothing to us, man? You didn't donate nothing to us,
man. You didn't get I left you a package, man. You didn't get it. Man, I don't know. Maybe
Amazon didn't deliver it, man.
I left it on your porch. Maybe a porch pirate got it. But
yeah, somebody at the DoorDash porch pirate came and grabbed it and ran, man.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is, if you don't want to dive feet first, then yes, you can rent an RV. There's parks all over the place. What I would say is just rent one. Go see if it's something that you might enjoy. I mean, the air is just different out in the country. I mean, or just looking up at the stars when there's really no lights around. I just can't. It's hard to describe. It's just something that you have to go and experience for yourself, and and who knows, you may have a love for it. And there's all sorts of different ways. We purchased a fifth wheel and a truck. People are doing this in Class A's all the way down to vans, you know. So van life, that's big now. We have a friend, she's renovating a school bus as we speak because she's ready to hit the road. So
really,
and there's all sorts of different ways.
Stuff.
You said what?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, for a
space.
single person, absolutely. For a single person, yeah, absolutely. School buses, I mean, people, they call them schoolies. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, plenty of space, you know, they can really retrofit them and really get out there. So I encourage people, like I said, I was closed-minded at first, but, you know, just expand your horizons, especially if you can work remotely. Why not? You know, there's a lot out there for you to see. Why not go see it? You know, if you're by yourself or if you're with a family, I think that it can have benefits in both ways. You know, both for your relationships as well as for yourself.
All right, Mikey. Listen, man, it's been a pleasure, you know, having you here talking your way through you know, this experience that you've had. You know, you hope to refuel this relationship, and you know, as soon as you're able, your rig is ready, get back on the road and so on with your family. I don't know. Jamie might say, you got to go without me, boy, because I ain't dealing with these knucklehead kids, you know. So I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna say, man. You know.
No, she's ready to go. She's ready to get back out on the road.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she is.
Man, they don't have the experience as a child of ever leaving their own surrounding. That's commendable. Oh, thank you so much, Girlfriend Chronicles. Thank you so much for that.
Girlfriend Chronicles. If you're still on, please tell my kids that so they stop complaining. Oh, we don't have our friends. Our friends will be there. Oh, man. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you having me on tonight. Like I said, we had to pivot, and I'm glad it worked out. I enjoyed having this conversation with you, and hopefully we'll be able to have that couple on here in the near future. But I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation, and I hope it helped somebody that was out there.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Listen, man, I want to thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Mikey, and I want to thank those of you who came on and who hung in there with us, you know, and we just. It's been a tribute to me, you know, been a great show for me, you know, out there with, he didn't say it, but he said we look like each other, but he is my son, my second child or second child. So he's all right. He's all right. He's the brain behind getting Dr. Kid out there. You know, I just fool around with the content, but he makes sure everything else is going really good. So if it's not going good, just look him up. Okay, it's his fault, not mine. You know, so no, I'm just messing with you. He's really very, very talented young man, and we have a great relationship, very, very good relationship with him and with our daughter and with our other son. That's one of the things that we made sure of, that we developed a very, very, very good relationship. We're not symbiotic, like we're not all over each other. Everybody's got room to grow and to do their own thing. But when it comes down to it, we have a saying in our family, and it's this: it said, we go up together or we go down together. In other words, nobody's going to say, hey, I got mine, you get yours. No. We go up together as a family, or we go down together as a family, which means that we bear each other's burdens and we support each other in every way possible. We don't always agree on things, you know, but that's just a part of, we go up together because we're able to separate the issue from the people, from each other. So we keep the people in place and we separate the issue and we deal with the issue. We might chop the issues up, but we're really good with talking about, you know, and supporting and validating each other. And I really want to thank Mikey for coming on. And I thank you for being on here with us this evening on the Shake Up. And so let me say this, you know, I want you to continue to like, follow, share, and subscribe so that, you know, to increase the viability of this show and to make sure that we have good content to put out there. And the content is the next thing I want to talk about. Listen, if you would like to be considered in the future, to be on the future show, okay, just contact Dr. Kit, my team at drkitspeaks@gmail.com. We're looking for content. It's not something like you're either right or you're wrong. It is your experience. And because it is your experience, it's yours. You own it. And we thank you for just being willing to come on here and share with us, okay? So please do that. Contact the team, drkitspeaks@gmail.com. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. All those of you that are still hanging on with us here, thank you so much. God bless you. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. But until then, listen, we're still doing our Rest Stop, Refueling Your Relationship seminar down in Atlanta. It's very small, and it's but come on out. We'll make room for you. So just come on out and enjoy it, okay? And we are looking forward to seeing you there in person, live and in person. So do that. We'll be happy. You'll be happy because nobody's doing it right like us. Ours is unique. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things, but ours is unique. We made it that way. Oh, and 20% for, Blam 20 for 20% off. Okay, 20% off. So listen, you want to get on that 20% off, jump on board like right now. We want to get, it's small, but we want to get some folks in there that's going to be really using this to create a balance in their lives. Okay, so Blam 20 for 20% off. Okay, look it up, Blam 20, get 20% off. That's one of our sponsors that we're, so do that. Okay. All right. So so just go ahead and do that. Check us out, Dr. Kit Speaks@gmail.com. And I think you can also get some info on my website, drkit@gmail.com. Okay. So either way you go, you can get the critical information that you need. All right. Thank you all so much. And we're looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, September 24th in the big Atlanta. All right. Peace. Have yourselves a wonderful night until we see each other again. Bye-bye.